Hello, welcome to the 3D market commentary for this morning. My name is Becky. My email address is down here. We have becky@tradictive.com. There's also support@tradictive.com, so you can email either one of those if you have any questions. Now I'm just going to make sure we cover the disclaimers. They are up there on the top left hand corner, so please read them. If you need to pause the video as well to read them, then by all means do that. Now, whilst they're up there, just to explain very quickly what a 3D market commentary is, for those where this might be the first time you've ever watched a video like this. So we send out an email every day, Monday to Friday, to our free members. And on that email, it has information of 5 major markets in the world, looking at 3 major elements when it comes to the statistics and probabilities in those markets. So we call it a 3D market commentary because we're looking at 3 major elements across different markets. So I will show you that in just a second. Just to show you quickly here, let's bring this up. This is a link you can go to. It's called tradewithufos.com/Becky. And on that link, you can get apps and platforms and things like that. You can scroll down and you can book one-on-one coaching if you want. But if you keep scrolling, you'll find that there is a place where you can post questions. Ideally, this is where you'll go to post questions because then I can answer them also in this same space. So other people can learn from the questions and the answers in this public setting. So ideally, that's where you'd go for questions. So let's bring up that email that I said we send out every day. Of course, corresponds with market data as well. So let's bring up a chart. So for each of these 3 elements, let me just explain what they are. So the first thing that we look at per market is called market climate, meaning where's the market likely to go? What's the upcoming market direction that's more probable to happen? Now, we use an app to help us with this. It's called AutoClimate. And that app tells us where the probabilities lie based on, or it shows us with these little dots and the different colours. Ignore the lines and just focus on the dots. And from them, we can figure out if we have probability up, down, or nowhere. So if it's a thick red dot, that tells us probability is down. If it's a thick blue dot, that tells us probability is up. If it's a thin dot of either colour, that tells us not enough probability either way, in which case we do nothing. So we use this app to help us figure out where the market climate is likely to go. Is it likely to go up, down, or nowhere? Then we have a good idea of whether or not we buy, sell, or do nothing. Then we want to look at buy and sell UFOs. Stands for unfilled orders. And what this means is that we are looking for where loads of buyers are and where loads of sellers are. Now, why do we care? We care because the more buyers there are, the more likely they are to push price up from that price. The more sellers they are, the more likely they are to push price down from that price. So we then get a better idea of where price might go up and down from. And again, we use an app to help us. It's called the AutoUFO app, and it shows us where these buyers and sellers are. If it's buy orders, that's shown to us with this green UFO and the prices on the right hand side. If there are sell orders, big stack of sellers, that's shown to us with our red UFOs with the prices on the side. So we'll look at that per market as well. Where are the buyers and sellers? And then we'll look at market volatility, how quickly we can expect these markets to move, or how much we can expect them to move within these given periods of time that we look at. So we'll look at each of those per market, and we are starting with the S&P 500, the top 500 US stocks. Now, everything that we're looking at is relevant to a daily chart. So of course, different things happen on different time frames. What we're looking at here is daily charts. So the S&P 500, top 500 US stocks, has a thick blue dot on the AutoClimate. That tells us probability is upwards. We have a confirmed upwards climate. Now, we are also well within a normal move to the upside. So based on what usually happens, we still have room for it to continue. We don't have any sellers above us. We've got buyers down here at 4479.75 to 4436.25. So again, overall probability up here with the S&P 500 for the time being. In terms of volatility, we would expect that the US stock market would move up or down in 1 year by 19.13%. So that means in 1 day, it would move up or down by 56.83 points. In a week, that's 125.11 points. In a month, it's 260.43 points. So that is what we can expect from the S&P 500, top 500 US stocks. Moving on to the next market, which is oil. As I load it, just to point your eyes up here about the different courses that we offer. If you do think you might need education or help understanding these different markets or different approaches, by all means check out our different courses on futures, stocks, forex, backtesting, trading plans and psychology. Most of them come with a 3-month complimentary access to the apps. AutoClimate is a free app on most platforms you can get it on. AutoUFOs is a paid for app, depending on which platform you use, depends on how much it costs. You can subscribe directly to AutoUFOs. You don't need to do a course to get them, but most of the time it actually works out cheaper to do that anyway. So check that out depending on what you want to use most. So with crude oil, we have a thin dot here on our AutoClimate. Not enough probabilities either way, which means we do nothing. No point buying or selling something that doesn't have probability up or down. Now we do have buyers beneath us here that could change something. They're between 69.49 to 62.43. And we've got a little bit of room before we get to the sellers up here at 79.23 to 77.98. So at the moment, unconfirmed, nothing to do. If we hit these buyers and they push price up, then of course we might see the climate confirm up, but for the time being, not enough probability either way. In terms of volatility with oil, we'd expect it to move up or down in 1 year by 46.23%. That means in 1 day, up or down by 2.09 points. In a week would be 4.6 points, and in a month, 9.58 points. There we go, that is crude oil. The next market is gold. Now, as I load that, just to say, to be aware that we do offer a bunch of coaching and support for free on YouTube and Facebook and LinkedIn and things like that. We answer questions in our public forum for free. We do have a closed coaching community. It's a small monthly fee, which gives you access to more of our time in a closed environment. But otherwise, we do provide a lot for free as well. With gold, we have a thin blue dot there that tells us not enough probability either way. Thin dots tell us we don't have a clear direction one way or the other. So not enough probability either way, do nothing. We're also in the middle of nowhere when it comes to our proximity to buyers and sellers. We've got sellers up here at 1873.3 to 1844.2. We have buyers all the way down here at 1652.8 to 1624.4. So again, kind of in the middle when it comes to that, not close to either stacks of buy or sell orders, and an unconfirmed climate in the first place. So nothing really to do on gold on a daily chart. In terms of volatility, we would expect gold to go up or down in 1 year by 15.35%. So in a day, that's 17.26 points up or down. In a week would be 38 points, and in a month, 79.1 points up or down. So that's gold. Now the next market is the US dollar. Now as I load the US dollar, I just want to make a point that of course everything we're looking at here is to do with what's statistically most likely to happen and probabilities. Not to say it definitely will happen. We never know what's going to happen in the markets. We never know what's going to happen in life. We have to go with our best guess based on what the statistics show, what the probabilities are more likely to be. So that's why we use this technology to help us figure out where the probabilities lie, make it easier for us to make those decisions. So with the US dollar, we have an unconfirmed climate, a thin dot on our AutoClimate. Not enough probabilities either way. Not surprising. Price hasn't really done anything for the last couple of weeks. It's just kind of gone up or down, doesn't really know what it's doing. So unconfirmed climate for the dollar. Now we have buyers down here at 95.595 to 94.695. They've already worked to push price up. Price came in here before, hit our stack of buyers and moved up from there. So that's why we want to know where the buyers are, because we can tell where price might go up from. We have sellers here at 96.94 to 96.66. I would say probably not close enough to either of these stacks of orders to really see much movement today. Now, with market volatility, we would expect the US dollar would go up or down in 1 year by 6.76%. So that's 0.41 points up or down in a day, 0.9 points up or down in a week, and 1.88 points up or down in a month. So that's the US dollar. Now, last but not least is backed Bitcoin. Now, as I load this, just to bring your attention down here to wanting to be a top trader, we have a platform called TRADDICTIV Options Planner, or TOP, which you can check out. Even if you're not an options trader, it's great to use if you're a stocks trader or a futures trader. I personally use it for stocks, so check that out as well. It's got all of the technology that we use integrated into it. So back to Bitcoin, we have a confirmed downwards climate, thick red dot, probability down when it comes to Bitcoin on a daily chart. We are within sellers at the moment, between 51,975 to 48,650. We are within those sellers, so currently being pushed down as we speak. We have buyers quite a way down at 32,820 to 31,615. And again, quite a way to go before we get there. So probability down for the time being on Bitcoin. In terms of volatility with Bitcoin, we'd expect it to move up or down in 1 year by 91.04%. So in a day, that's 2,792.51 points. In a week, 6,147.42 points up or down. And in a month, 12,796.87 points up or down. So that's Bitcoin. That brings us to the end of our markets that we're looking at. For each of them, what we've done is we've looked at market climate. We've checked our auto climate app and seen what the most recent color of that dot was. Was it a thick blue dot and therefore probability up, a thick red dot and therefore probability down, or a thin dot of either color and therefore not enough probabilities either way? So we've checked that per market. Then what we looked at are buy and sell UFOs. Where do we have buy unfilled orders and sell unfilled orders? Essentially, where do we have lots of buyers and sellers that could push price up or down respectively? And then we've looked at volatility, how quickly we would expect these markets to go. So hopefully that all makes sense. One more thing to be aware of before we round off is our weekly economic calendar, which is a pretty long one this week. We get this from fxstreet.com. And what we do is we filter by high impact news, meaning we want to know which scheduled news reports are likely to have an impact on these markets and make them move. That's either a good or a bad thing, but it's likely to increase volatility. It's up to you to deal with that as a trader, depending on what you value, if you're risk tolerant or not. So based on this, then today being Monday, we have some news coming out a little bit later on in the US morning that could affect Canadian markets or the Canadian dollar. So if you trade those markets, be aware of it. So just to round off, if you do have any questions, you can email me, or please, if you do feel comfortable to, go to tradewithufos.com/Becky and ask the question in a public setting so I can answer it there, and then everybody can come and learn from this space. You can also book one-on-one coaching there if you'd like, and you can get some apps and platforms and things like that that might help you. Any other questions, of course, you can reach out to me. Otherwise, have a great start to your trading week, and I will see you later on in the week.